Hey, this is Kyle Carver from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Crimer Beer House for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The beer house was started in 1982 by the Crimer family. Since that time, they have become a Cincinnati favorite. If you're looking for an incredible meal and an incredible setting, you have to try Crimer's Beer House down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio.
Welcome to Strong Dads. Hey, this is Merle Hutchinson and
Kyle Crawford.
he's alive. He's alive. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm good. I got my big coffee mug here.
You are,
I'm
man.
ready to go.
You got the keg.
I got the big one today.
That's good. That's good. Hey, we are excited to come together to bring another show, and it was kind of funny how this show came about because it was actually I was on a little road trip and. Lynn and I were driving, and we started kind of teasing each other about maintenance of the vehicle. Her car has 187,000 miles on it.
Get it, Linda?
And it
nice.
it just runs great. And I shouldn't even say this because it'll probably die on me today. But anyway, we were just joking about it, and I was kind of in our man way, teasing her about like, well, you know, what was the last time we did this or did that? And she was like, I don't know, that's your job, you know? And so we were having some fun with that. And then as we're driving on this road trip, we were talking about some marriage type stuff that we're doing for Rock Solid Families. And it was basically helping some people repair marriage. I'm like, you know what? Kyle and I need to do a show about repairing marriage along with how it relates to the maintenance or repairing of our car.
But we got to be kind of careful with this, though, right?
Right. We're not calling you ladies. We're not calling you ladies a car by any means. So don't even go down that road. I don't want a single email about it. We're not your car. No, I know you're not our car. It's just I'm trying to talk to guys in a way that they would understand, you know?
Yes. No, ladies, don't get upset here, okay?
Yeah, we're talking to men here. Yes. You might want to share this with your man because he'll go, oh, it's just like changing oil? Okay, I can do that.
That's about the only maintenance thing that I can do with my car. Though.
I can't believe
I have to confess, when it comes to maintenance, I found a really good mechanic, though, right? Yeah. So I found somebody I really can trust. But besides, I just do the basic oil change.
What kind of man are you?
I know. You know? Sorry. I do woodworking, okay?
That's what amazes me because you do great woodworking, but mechanically it's not in your fingers, huh?
I don't know. It just doesn't happen. That's why when I decided to start changing my own oil, I was like, well, I'm going to get like fully synthetic so I can do it. I don't have to do it as often, like once every 10,000 miles. So I'm probably not the best example when it comes to the full maintenance of your car in relation to full maintenance with your marriage.
Well, hopefully we'll jump the gap a little bit.
Because I was joking when you shared the idea about maintenance. I was like, well, I'm not good at either, Merle.
Yeah, I was going to just call Jenny and have her do the show with me. That's good. Well, I do think that there are a lot of connections because, a guide usually does not have a difficult time understanding the need to take care of things, whether it's maintaining the yard or the house or the car or whatever, that, this is something of value. Yeah. And after you've worked long and hard to get this, it's... trashing it is something that you're like, no, I got to take care of this. So anyway, I think there's just a connection there. But I think there are some points here that the most valuable thing you will ever have in your life outside of your relationship with Christ will be your relationship with your spouse.
Absolutely.
Okay, I mean, that is, it'll pay generations forward many, many, many times. And so the quality of that marriage is something that is of great value. And we're going to unpack that today. But we're going to have some fun first.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe before we have some fun, maybe we'll do some ads so we maintain that part of our relationship.
Absolutely, yes. Definitely, Strong Dads definitely wants to thank Crimer's Beer House for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The beer house down on Route 128 was established in 1982 by the Crimer family. So as this show is getting ready to air, I think that Ohio is getting ready to completely open.
Amen.
Real close, yeah. So definitely go down there, get some dine in versus some carry outs food down at the Cramer's Beer House down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio.
Yeah, so slowly things starting to open back up. Hopefully everybody will stay healthy and safe there, and we can get our economy rolling again. I also would like to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency, located in Bright, Indiana, for being one of our sponsors for Strong Dads podcast. Established in 1981, the Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses located in Bright, Indiana, but they also serve Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So for all your insurance needs, contact Mansfield Insurance Agency. All right. So you want to have a little quiz?
Oh boy,
let's have a little quiz.
I'm really good at failing quizzes, so this will be good.
So let's talk about like if we know some basics, and I'm not going to try to act like I know all these either, because like that's why there's an owner's manual that I don't have to commit to memory. But just maintaining our own vehicle, right?
All right.
Like you said before, how often you change oil in your car?
Well, I do full synthetic, and my owner's manual said I can do every 10,000 miles.
That's huge.
I know. I love
huge.
it. That's fantastic.
I mean, mine says 5.
Really? Well, you have a Dodge.
I have a Dodge,
and I'm built for tough, so we can go over 10,000 miles.
That's a whole different show. Yeah. Okay, so how about how often do you check your brakes? What? You use Fred Flintstone brakes, don't you? Put your feet out the door and just.
Let's say I'm gonna say every 40,000 miles.
40,000. That's every 40,000 you check your brakes.
Well, I guess you should check them every day, right?
By just putting your foot on it and see if it's working. Yeah, it works good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So, I'm going to say we change them every 40,000. How far off am I?
Well, it really depends. We should check them about every 10,000 or so. So usually when you're getting your tires rotated, which, because you rotate your tires every
time you do your oil change.
That would be a little much, but you could do that if you had to. But for you, because you do 10,000.
10,000, yeah.
So about every 10,000. So when they're rotating those tires, usually they like to take a look at those brakes and see what kind of life is left on them. So it really just depends on the type of driving you do and how often you're on the brakes and not. So how about, let's see, this is one that just rips me. How about the air filter?
I change every time I do my oil change.
See, that's well, for you, you're doing that's probably a little overkill.
Is it?
That's probably a little overkill.
Well, I usually pull it out and I look at it.
You blow it off.
I do the filters in my furnace. I put up to the light. Can I see the light through it? Okay, then I put it back in. And if I can't see the light through it, then I gotta get a new one.
This is not recommended maintenance.
Oh, you're saying we're not mechanics?
No.
Not even close.
Yeah. Well, this is the one that, when you do go to the quick lube or whatever, and I'm just speaking randomly here, man, it just seems like every time you go get that oil change, they're coming out, sir, it looks like you could use a new air filter. And it's like, no, that one was just done 5,000 miles ago. So I think we're pretty good for a while. So usually you're looking at 15 to 20,000 on those. Yeah. Man, how about spark plugs? How about, remember those things? You don't even know what a spark plug is.
I do too. I can do the small engines. I'm halfway decent at with long the lawn equipment. I'm pretty good at that stuff. I always know that's like one of the first things you check when you can't get your weed whacker to fire up. If it floods. Spark plugs. When the mechanic tells me they're broken.
Yeah. Well, spark plugs are really weird because I grew up in my dad's shop.
Okay.
And so spark plugs is something that. That was part of the tune-up. We were replacing spark plugs, every 20,000 miles or so, just depending on how they were performing. And now you don't even touch these things until you're well over 100,000 miles. Yeah. So just, depending on the vehicle. But so spark plugs are something that we don't touch very much anymore. But back in the day, we did.
Back in my day.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, enough of this quiz stuff. I failed.
You did better than I thought, actually.
That's
good. I failed. Let's jump the track back and talk really about the reason why we maintain that car, as we said earlier, is because of the value that it has. And the value that it has in the sense of taking care of our family, allowing us to do so many other things. And the marriage is the same way. And us guys, sometimes if it's something that we're not natural at, we look the other way. And I do think, just like you talk, Kyle, like maybe car maintenance is not your thing, okay? So it's easy sometimes to just look the other way. And we can do that for a while.
Sure.
Right? We can do that. And especially if we have somebody else who's helping to maintain the marriage. If our wife is especially good at looking at doing things that help keep us strong and together. But it really is something that both drivers of the relationship, both of us need to be involved in, and we need to understand. If you drove your car 100,000 miles and never looked under the hood, today's cars will probably get you there. But when it does come time for maintenance, it might be more than you're ready to deal with.
Right. And I just a quick note on this. I think it's important. Like, obviously, our show here is Strong Dads, and we're big on making sure we're staying in the game with our kids. But I really think it's important in order to be a good dad. It has to start at the foundation. Obviously, just like you were saying, the most important relationship should be our relationship with Christ, and the next most important relationship in our life should be with our wives.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, in order to be a good dad, that it has to start with that foundation of being a good husband to your wife, and because your kids are going to mimic that, and they're going to look at that, and they're going to see, because I mean, truly, we've talked about briefly about divorces in the house, and how it can completely transform the shape of a family, and just the idea that continued maintenance with your marriage, how long term that can really help invest into your family. Because although I'm not necessarily mechanically inclined, I also understand the importance of the fact that my truck needs to be maintained, because it is my go-to for getting to and from work, and if I don't continue to do those maintenance, then I'm going to struggle in some regards in my life. It's going to affect me in the way that I perform, and it's no different than our marriage. We have to maintain those maintenance, those small things. We'll kind of jump into the things that we can do to help maintain those, but by doing those maintenance, that you're going to reap the rewards on the back end with your kids.
Yeah, and your kids' relationships generations ahead.
Absolutely.
Because they will have a witness, an example that you laid out of the importance of how to take care of things. And so these things, at Rock Solid Families, Linda and I work all the time, especially these days, with generations of broken relationships. And so people coming into our office, and they didn't have a good example to follow with their parents. And so now they're into relationships that are falling apart and broken. And so what we're trying to do here on Strong Dads Today is really talk about, hey, stop it already. Stop the brokenness, because you can. That's the thing. You can. There are ways around this, but it's a little bit more focus and with meaning that you observe what needs to happen. So kind of like, again, just to kind of bounce back and forth between the car analogy and our marriage, the idea that, before we were talking about like scheduled maintenance, with a car, our manufacturers tell us there are scheduled maintenance that needs to take place with our vehicle. And scheduled is just that. It's on the calendar, or it's in the books. It's like, okay, every X number of miles or months or years, this needs to take place if you're going to continue to maintain this. The scheduled is great. Here are the ones that kick our butt.
Yeah.
The unscheduled. Yeah. The unscheduled maintenance. And unscheduled is that stuff where, it was off your radar completely, and all of a sudden something breaks down and you're going, what? How did this happen? Right. How did we get here? All right. And sometimes you can't totally predict all unscheduled maintenance. If I'm going down the road and I hit a piece of metal and I have a flat tire, that wasn't on my schedule.
Right.
Okay. But most of our maintenance is something that we can have a little bit of a forecast on. And so is the same case as our marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. When Linda and I see people that come into Rock Solid Families, seldom is there one event that brings them in.
Yep.
We see an ongoing brokenness that just continues to go down the road. And the longer it goes down the road, the more it just sort of magnifies itself.
Right.
Okay, and so really that's the similarity that we're wanting to talk about, and we're going to just talk about some. Okay, what would the regular schedule maintenance of our marriage look like? What do us guys need to do a better job at and be aware of, and stop assuming? And then the next thing you know, we're paying a great price for the breakdown.
Right, and I think it's cool because I mean. Yes, there's always going to be the unscheduled things that come up in your marriage. The storms are going to come in your marriage. There's going to be issues that pop up. But the cool thing in correlating these two together is just the idea that if we put in the time now to work on the scheduled things that what may seem very minute and smaller things, i.e. changing the oil, doing the brake, so when those unscheduled, the unscheduled things might not be as large. Just what you're saying, it might not be that domino effect. If I neglect my car for 5 years, then all of a sudden I'm going to have a huge bill. Where if I would put in the time, put in the effort, do the normal scheduled maintenance, those unscheduled, just like you're saying, they're going to pop up. They're going to be there. There's no way to really avoid those, but we can kind of minimize those times that those do really pop up. And when it comes to our marriage, like there's so many things we can do on the scheduled side to help minimize those unscheduled maintenance. That those maybe avoiding having to get to the point where you're talking to a lawyer for a divorce. So, I mean that would be obviously the goal here is to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah. Those are the kind of breakdowns that we are absolutely needing to avoid, and there's lots of reasons for that: the hurt, the pain, the cost, the generational impact that has, and so. The other thing is we're going to talk about some advice things here, but there's not one person driving the marriage. There are two people, and it's great if one person is really aware. But I'm really asking for both to be really aware of how we have to maintain it. My wife does not really have the job of maintaining our cars, but she is very, because I've just talked with her over the years, she'll say, I think I'm due for this, because I don't always check her mileage and I know exactly what she's doing there. So she's just very aware, kind of like you said before, she knows it needs to be done, but then she'll kind of throw it in my hands and say, I think this, and I'll be, okay, and I can help get that taken care of. That's the same thing in our marriage. Your wife might be better at certain things about maintaining the marriage, but you still have a total responsibility of being aware of why we're doing what we're doing to maintain that.
Right, and I know in our previous show, Jim Mansfield came on, and one of his kind of advice, his big takeaways for all the dads out there, including you and I, Merle, the idea that our marriage is supposed to be 100%. Yeah. That, a lot of times people think it's just 50%. I'll put forth half the effort, you put forth the other. And I think it's really important to note that part of the maintenance schedules that you have to do has to be both husband and wife together in it. Yeah. So it's not just the wife that is just holding up her end of the bargain when it comes to maintenance, and then the husband is slacking off, or vice versa. I think it's important to note that we need to be all in. I know quite a few guys that I work with, and I'm sure you do as well, Merle, that men and us guys, we put so much value in our relationship with our kids, and a lot of times people think that your relationship with your kids is supposed to be the number one relationship in your life, and it's just that idea that our number one relationship in our house, outside of Christ, should be in our marriage, and just the idea that because your relationship with your kids is not going to be the 100%. Your relationship with your wife is where that 100% needs to come in, because your kids are completely relying on you.
Yeah, they're dependent.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's just an idea that your relationship with your wife should be the 100%. It is not the 50-50 that a lot of times I think gets kind of displayed in society.
Yeah. And for any of our ladies that are out there listening to our Strong Dad show, sometimes you can get frustrated because you do try to do different things to help the marriage, to maintain the marriage, and your man doesn't seem to respond or doesn't take an interest. And so we definitely, I want you to keep trying, don't quit, but try to tap into how his maintenance works, like what he is good at. Because if you're wanting him to go do something that is just out of his total, I don't know, we're going to go get our nails done or something, kind of like, oh man, go into his area that he feels comfortable and start there, because chances are he doesn't want this marriage to fail.
Right.
He just doesn't always know exactly what you're looking for in terms of the maintenance for you and you feeling better and stronger. So we've got some, hey, all you strong dads out there, we've got some great ideas just to get you thinking. And hopefully these will be the scheduled maintenance things that you have on your radar. I'd actually tell you, hey, if you got a pen next to you right now, just scribble these down, okay? And then you can build on them from there. The very first thing is, and this just shocks me, that the number of people that Lynn and I see that don't really do this.
Yeah.
And that's daily talk, daily check-in.
Yeah.
I said daily.
Yeah.
Okay, and what I mean, daily check-in, that doesn't mean, I love you, honey, see ya, I'm off to work.
Yeah.
That's not really a check-in, okay, that's a greeting. And so a check-in is actually taking whatever it is, 5-10 minutes, and going just a little bit deeper and saying, how was your day? How are you today?
Yeah.
What's going on in your world today? And guys, here's what I'm telling you. If you stick strictly to the words and you don't read her heart, you're really not maintaining what she needs maintained. She needs her heart maintained. She needs to know that she's being heard and somewhat understood, okay? And the same will happen with you when you're having a bad day. We want her to do the exact same thing to you. But a daily check-in is something, and Linda and I try to do it. Usually we try to do it in the evenings, like when we come home and we're coming around dinner time, we'll be like, okay, what's up? What's going on today?
Yeah.
And seldom do I get trapped on the words. I just look at her posture. I look at the energy she has and just like, okay, basically bottom line, was this a good day or a bad day?
Right.
Okay, and then go to that conversation.
And with these daily check-ins, Jenny and I have really tried to implement this with when we're doing those daily check-ins. How was your day? Don't be interrupted by your kids. Again, this is the idea that we can really prioritize our marriage to our kids. That they know that the most important relationship in this house is husband and wife. That when my girls come and they try and interrupt Jenny, I'll be like, go play for a second. Like, your mom and I are talking. Or, Jenny will do the same. And there's scenarios, there's always going to be those cases where your kid's going to come up and it's going to take your attention away. But just like you were saying, this idea that you're actually engaging with the person. I know I'm at fault sometimes when Jenny's talking, I'm on my phone. And just that idea that those daily check-ins are not just a check-off. Like, they're so important that we need to prioritize them and give our full attention to them. And I'm as guilty as most with my phone. Whatever. I'll be doing whatever, playing a stupid game on my phone, and Jenny's trying to talk to me. And then all of a sudden the kids come in. And if I don't prioritize that conversation, those daily check-ins, then the unscheduled maintenances are going to pop up because Jenny's going to say, I told you about this 3 weeks ago, and you just weren't listening to me. And just the idea that we can prevent that even argument, that conversation from happening 3 weeks from now if we just take the time and prioritize that daily check-in.
And because it's really showing her that you value who she is and what your marriage is. Mm-hmm. And again, like we said before, this is the most valuable thing that you have.
Right.
Okay. And so if you don't show her that she's of value, there is going to be a breakdown. How about this one? Weekly to monthly dates, all right? I say weekly because Lynn and I actually do try to do a weekly date, okay? We try to do, whether it's a Friday night or a Thursday or something. We don't have to get a sitter these days. Our kids are old enough to take care of that. And so we try to just get out, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I'm not talking like, well, you won't see me in a tie very often at all. So I'm not talking about some hot date. I'm talking about just the two of you doing more than just a check-in. You're out, you're going to go maybe get a bite to eat, maybe you're going to go to the grocery store, but whatever it is, you're going to go and just hang out and tap into each other a little bit more in terms of connecting and just making sure each other is okay.
Absolutely. And not that we don't prioritize this, but weekly for Jenny and I is very difficult with two young kids. So we prioritize a monthly date, and this is big for Jenny. She loves date nights, and I'm all for it. I think it's a great maintenance that we can do And just like you're saying, it doesn't necessarily have to be something expensive. I know my sister and I, we trade, that sounds bad, but we trade kids. So when it's Jenny and I's month to do a date night, for that month, our girls will go over to my sister's house, and my sister will watch my girls, so we don't have to pay for a babysitter. And then when they're, when it's their week to do a date night, that they'll bring their kids over and we watch them. So we've kind of found these occasions where we can do it and it's inexpensive. Not to put a plug for this, but if you are looking for ideas, because date ideas can be hard, and especially if one person has like these big elaborate date ideas in their mind and the other one does not. Jenny and I purchased a book. It's called Adventure Challenge for Couples. You can buy it online. It's fairly inexpensive. It has 50 date ideas. And they're fun. You scratch them off, and it tells you the price amount associated with it. It tells you if it's a rainy day, stay at home. It's just a really neat book. Jenny and I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and we've even taken a step further. We have a family edition of this, so we have a family. The girls they love it. It's like what
are we gonna do?
Yeah, do an obstacle course. 2 nights ago, we did airplane races. We scratched it off, and we all made 5 different airplanes. And we threw them all over the house. Like just fun stuff like that. That someone else a lot smarter than me came up with a lot of cool ideas, and we've just used them and we've loved them. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So another thing. So we went from daily to like a weekly or monthly date sort of thing. The next sort of, as we're scheduling maintenance, so to speak, of the marriage, the next thing is like a quarterly or semi-annual, what I'll just call big dates. Okay. Yeah. These are like, rather than just the oil change, these are a little bit bigger. They're a tune-up. Okay. Yeah. They're a very concentrated time where you're going to maybe take a weekend together, maybe a small little trip. Maybe you're going to celebrate something, a birthday or an anniversary or something like that, but it's going to be a little bit bigger, and it's going to be focused on, it's just really the two of you. And I want to emphasize here, sometimes I see couples go away with other couples, and while that can be a lot of fun, if we're all going on a vacation to Florida with 4 other couples, the chances of you being able to work on your marriage is going to be minimal. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not saying that vacation can't be fun. Yeah. What I'm saying is it's probably not going to be as dedicated to the maintenance of your marriage unless there's some workings in that allow that. So this is something where the two of you really focus on, you know what, we're getting away for a weekend. We're just going to go over to this cabin somewhere and we're going to hang out and just be with each other.
Yeah. And I mean, again, if financial reasons are the reason why you're not putting in the maintenance, take the kids to grandparents' house and have them stay the night. You can stay in your house, and it can just be you two. But I would just encourage any dads that maybe finance, especially now with these crazy times. Like if you are having financial struggles, like that's like it's not a reason to not put in the effort and put in the time for these miles, for these scheduled maintenance with your marriage. So yes, getting away for the weekend is a great thing, and I would love to do more of that with Jenny. Mm-hmm. But just staying in the house, just you two, I think is huge. I mean, even if it is one of those things where for us, our date night, we may take the girls. Every month we do the date night, and maybe every 4 or 5 months the girls stay the night at my grandparent or my parents' house, their grandparents, or my sister's house, and we just spend the night just Jenny and I in our house. Yeah. It doesn't cost anything. We're just in our house, but just that time, just Jenny and I can reconnect in that regard.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So the next stage up would be actually taking the time to celebrate the bigger milestones. Your marriage is huge, as we talked about, in terms of value and importance, not just to the two of you, but to everybody around you, your family, your kids, everybody. And recognizing these big milestones, obviously, like, man, a 50-year marriage, that's crazy and that's impressive, okay? Yeah. But how about just, hey, we made 5 years, our 10-year anniversary, our 15, our 20, whatever, recognizing those bigger milestones. Maybe we go back and we visit a place where we first met. Maybe we go do something that just like, hey, this is so important. We really want to keep this in our memory bank. Okay. Yeah. So the milestone type dates are really important. And maybe it's not just a date, maybe it's like, hey, you have been together for 25 years, and for our 25 year, we're gonna celebrate by doing some addition on the home or something like, hey, we did this as a gift to each other because we're committed that much more. So it's just something that's bigger, that says to each other, hey, we're in this for the long haul.
Right. Yeah. This August, Jenny and I will be celebrating 10 years.
10.
So,
wow.
And I think it's important to celebrate those again, because our kids, they're gonna, when generational issues, we talk about, they're gonna see that when you start celebrating those bigger milestones, those 5 years, 10 years, that 20 years, that puts you in a minority. And when it comes to our marriage, staying married is a good place to be when it comes to being in the minority, because the majority of people in our country now do not stay married. Yeah. So celebrating those and letting your kids see the celebration in that is a big deal to be married for 10 years. And not that that's the end point, not that that's the end game, but it's important to celebrate those. I like celebrating small successes. Get excited about that. Jenny and I have been married for 10 years this August. To me, that's a big deal, because there's a lot of people who don't make 10 years. Yeah. And it's important to celebrate that, because inevitably there's going to be friends that my girls have that their parents didn't make 10 years. Yep. And call it pride, call it whatever you want. The girls will hold on to that, and they'll see a lot of value in the fact that their parents have been married for 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Lynn and I are going on 33 years this summer, and I don't count the years as like, wow, this is longer than anybody else. I count it as, this is just what we do. This is this is just what we do. It's what we're committed to, and I want our kids to see that. So that leads me to the next point. And I don't want this to be coming off wrong. I kind of had fun in writing this, but the idea that on a daily basis we clean and polish. Okay, like if we're talking about a car here.
Oh, car. Okay, we're talking about the car.
The car. It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good. And what I mean by that is, how does your marriage look to the people around you? Do your kids witness a really awesome relationship of give and take, back and forth, love, and sharing that way? So how does it look? How does your family see your marriage? Is it appealing? Does it have a good aesthetic value to it? And I don't mean that in some sort of phony way either. This is not we all dress up and we take the great family photo, and then as soon as the camera's done, we're banging on each other and smacking each other around. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, do your kids see? Do they see the goodness in this? And I just wrote that as we clean and polish daily, and those are kind of the manners in the relationship, right? Like we talk decent to each other. Now, there's nothing to me that's just more gross than a guy that just talks nasty to his wife. Yeah. And I see it frequently. Shut up. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That's just gross, and it's nasty, and it really speaks to the insecurity of that man. Yeah. And so for that reason, if your kids are witnessing that, that's just not helping your marriage or their future representation in a marriage.
Right. And, where I work in the fire service, we talk a lot about, if you take care of the tools, we'll take care of you. And again, I'm not talking about...
Yeah, you better watch it, brother.
I'm not saying Jenny is a tool by any stretch.
No, she'll tool you.
Yeah, but every day when we do our truck checks in the morning, we clean and polish our tools. And we do that because those tools are our lifeline. Yeah. And we use those tools every single day when we're on our fire. And I want to make sure I can rely on that tool when, for lack of better words, when shit hits the fan. Yeah. I want to make sure that tool is ready to go. Yeah. And it's no different in our marriage. If we put the effort into cleaning and polishing our marriage and making sure it's where we want it to be, when it does hit the fan, we're ready. And our marriage can withhold and sustain that. And that's why we invest in our marriage, for those times when stuff isn't good, we can fall back on those times. Like, we've invested a lot of time in our marriage. And we're not going to let this just slip through our fingers. We're going to put even more time. We're going to double down, and we're going to continue to put forth effort into it.
Yeah, in one of our previous shows, we had our guest Brent Rudemiller, and he was just talking about his marriage, and he has two severely handicapped boys, and he talked about most of those marriages with handicapped children. The majority of them actually break up,
and that's just with one handicap.
With one, and he has two severely handicapped kids, and so they have had to double down on their relationship maintenance.
Absolutely.
And the fact that he witnessed that and saw the need for that speaks highly of, the value of who his wife is. So anyway, we're going to start to wrap things up. If you don't do regular maintenance, you're going to run into unscheduled maintenance in your marriage. And the sorry thing about that is that usually, if I had a car that was never maintained, it's eventually going to a scrapyard, right? And I'm not trying to be silly or oversimplify, but if we don't maintain a marriage, that scrapyard for marriage is called divorce, and it's ugly, and it's costly on many fronts. And so we are trying to stay out of that scrapyard when it comes to our marriage. And one thing that we do know here at Rock Solid Families is that most marriages can be restored.
Absolutely.
Most actually can be restored. The earlier we get in on the problem, the better chance we have. But most of our marriages can be restored, but it does take two willing players to come in and actually start doing the hard work to get it back. And again, so just kind of, if you need help with that, get a professional, get somebody that can help you. Call us at Rock Solid Families. It's what we do. Our number is 812-576-7625, and we can help you get back on the right track with that.
Absolutely. So kind of just in closing and kind of wrapping the show up, definitely want to kind of leave you guys with some call it homework for you and your marriage to start to evaluate your marriage. Are you putting in the maintenance? And just like you were saying, Merle, like we have to, our marriage has to be worth fighting for. It has to be. Outside of Jesus, it is going to be the most important relationship in your life. And your kids will see that. So what are the things that you and your wife are doing daily, weekly, monthly, those big milestones? What are you doing? So start to look at those. What a great conversation to have. Make it a date night. Make it a conversation in date night, because I know for Jenny and I, sometimes date nights just turn into talking about our kids. What a great opportunity to use this challenge to talk about some of the maintenance. Use that as a date night. It's a great conversation piece. It's a great starter to hopefully snowball into putting in those scheduled maintenance for your marriage.
That's awesome stuff. Okay, so Ephesians 5:21 says, submitting to one another out of reverence for Christ. As a Christian, as you said at the very beginning of the show, the most important relationship we have is the one with Christ. And the scripture is talking about here the idea that we show our love and reverence for Christ through how we love our spouse. And so that's what this is about. And so if you're going to call yourself a Christian, one of the best ways that you can actually show that is by loving your spouse well and maintaining that marriage. All right. So we do want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Kramer's Beer House and Mansfield Insurance for coming alongside our Strong Dads podcast and helping us do our job. I almost said Rock Solid Radio.
I did not look anything like Linda.
You are not. Heck no, man. And so we want to thank our sponsors for being alongside of us, and we just continue to ask all of you to support us. If you like what you're hearing on Strong Dads, please give us a rating of 5. That helps us in the search engines to get our show up and out there. So if you like the message, pass it on.
Heck yeah. So I think we're good.
I think we're wrapping it up, brother.
All right, heck yeah. Go out there and be some strong dads.
Hey, this is Merle Hutchinson from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency in Bright, Indiana for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. Established in 1981, the Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses in Bright, Indiana, serving clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.